Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our Axis playthrough. In the last episode we took on primarily the German front here in July 31st, 1942. Most of this turn is done. We need to spend some money as Germany. We have some finishing moves as Japan, then we have to do Italy, which we haven't really touched. But that is most of the progress. So we've already taken care of a lot of the mainland here, used our bombers. Like the moment we did the turn pushover, there's a unit or two, such as right here, that we still have to move. One that could maybe get some upgrades instead of moving up at all. How many do we have up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I was going to have 8 up here, so this is number 8. I'll just give this one its elite reinforcements because it's not really needed on the front, as you might see. We have way too many troops up here in general. Due to the pile-up that's happening here, thanks to the mountains, the supply, things like that, we'll go peek the 17th Army forward here. Yeah. There's some enemy corps here, nothing too big. I'm gonna go ahead and do the attack, 0 to 3. That's pretty good odds, even for a blitz attack. We dealt 4 damage, we took none, we gained XP, so I think that's pretty good. Supply there is going to stay at about 5, so that's a pretty good value. I'll get this one upgraded with some elite reinforcements, because he has nowhere to go at the moment. This guy even, he's just waiting for the pile-up to clear. There's nowhere to go to make him closer unless I force march, and I don't want to force march him. Our special forces here on Midway have only to step to the side and claim Midway for us, and there you go. Midway is now claimed specifically for us. We do have a lot of carriers and such that have returned to Japan, can go ahead and reinforce their aircraft, can reinforce their carriers if need be. Well, not only the aircraft are actually hurt, but reinforce their aircraft and get upgrades that are needed. The Hiryu can also get some aircraft reinforcements. The 6 Air Army medium bombers here can now get ground attack weapons level 2. They've just been sitting here fighting off a sub that is now gone. We didn't kill it, it just ran away after we hurt it enough. So that simplifies that process. The destroyers are here and they're already fully upgraded, so they can do some patrolling, go looking for things for sure. So for example, we can come down here, go down in a straight line, just kind of investigate along the path there. We find that it is pretty much clear. And then we can come down, let's say to right here, and then head down this way. Just checking to make sure the path is clear, getting them moving towards where we have seen enemy subs. This light cruiser has been sitting here forever, and I'm not really a fan of that because, of course, it's a bad guy. Our maritime bombers would lose 1, kill 3 based on projections of bombing into this port. However, a single strength point off of a maritime bomber is worth a lot less than even the cheapest of ships the enemy has. So a 3-to-1 ratio, that's a pretty good trade. So I'm going to go ahead and take that trade. We dealt 2 damage, we took 2 damage, so that didn't really work out how I wanted it to, but we're still going to attack again. 3 damage dealt, and none taken. So we took 2 damage, we dealt 5 damage. That is fair. That is, yeah, that's fair. It's a little bit, tiny bit worse. Ideally, we would have dealt 6, taken 2, but even this is fine. That is a very optimal trade for us, because these things are worth 150 base, and these things are worth like 200 base light cruisers. Now, there is always the thing of, well, America makes way more than Japan does anyway, but if you're getting a almost 3-to-1 ratio as Japan, you're basically breaking even anyway. And one way or another, the AI is not that good at managing money, more than likely. We have the Kaga carrier, which does need to get back to Japan. Maybe I can clear something out here by moving the Yamato battleship. Yamato's just been chilling this whole time. Yeah, we could get it up here. We could get it up here. Let's get it all the way up here. Clear out the port next to Tokyo for our Kaga carrier. Let's go ahead and send that over there. And then we have a bunch more ships that could certainly use stuff. Again, we don't really have enough ports for all these upgrades we're going to need. Now, looking over here at the Pacific, I am thinking of this in terms of like a PvP, right? When thinking about the AI, I've been sailing these special forces down to New Zealand thinking, well, that would be easy to take. And I've just kind of been ignoring this little chain right here. in reality, in like a PvP, you know, you wouldn't really want to just skip past. I mean, it could definitely be a play that you did, but especially if you were moving things undefended like I am, because you have all your ships kind of doing other things and recovering, and you're just trying to like min-max taking stuff. All these ports spread about would actually be really important, get it? For maintaining control over the Pacific. That's why 4 ports at Hawaii can be such a big deal. Midway, you name it. Any one of these islands could be worth taking over depending on what your goal is. So I might, since, you know, my end goal has more to do with the Soviet Union right now, I might just play this more like a PvP just kind of as a test. Because if I was actually going for Australia and New Zealand, then getting New Caledonia and New Hebrides would actually be fairly important for controlling the sea territory around here just southeast of the Solomon Islands. So let's go by that logic, because very shortly from recording this, I do plan on starting recording my first PvP, and I want to kind of get in that sort of mindset. So let's change up our goal a little bit here. Let's sail the Special Forces down, and we find that there's nothing actually currently defending New Caledonia. Suffered 3 casualties upon landing, which is very sad, but we'll have 10 supply for a little bit. We'll be able to reinforce. All will be fine. And heck, look at this. Half the island still belongs to the Allies. We might need to like move around to actually fully secure it. Now, of course, this is already all mine. I can definitely, you know, knowing how supply works, just move around and try to claim it. Maybe not the most important thing, but not exactly a useless thing either, theoretically. I don't know, maybe it is. We can take the 3rd Curry Special Forces here, and we'd have to risk going past a port here, unfortunately, to do this in one turn. Let's risk it because this is AI, and so I don't need to be entirely, you know, strategic. I mean, if I was trying to be strategic, I wouldn't send these things here all by themselves like this. At least, definitely not this quickly. But we can land, taking 3 casualties again. How fucking rude. But we've taken Luganville. New Hebrides is mine. I don't think we can really claim these islands quite as easily. I don't know. We'll see. It might just, supply spread might just claim this stuff. And these, or maybe these little islands will just always be allies by design for whatever reason. Either way, we have the ports. That's the most important thing, because it'll mean we'll have supply in this area. It'll mean we can base ships out of this area, use them as cover from enemy ships and whatnot, and use them as just generally a method of control. A wall against right here, which starts with Fiji Islands, which is the UK, but this is more an American zone of control. They're the ones that protect this. As we know, they already have tanks on American Samoa. Lastly, we have another Special Forces ready to head down, and we're just going to get that as far as it can go. That's down to the Solomon Islands, roughly. Sit in the port as it prepares to head down to New Zealand as well. Maybe it could capture the Fiji Islands. Maybe somebody could. Just because there's a port on American Samoa. And oh look, this is for New Zealand. Interesting. Oh, so we could get control of this by taking New Zealand. That's funny. Just because there's Americans here doesn't mean that there's anybody here. I forget if there was an event surrounding Fiji Islands. I really don't remember. But there is a chance that one could be taken. We could swing past there and look. There's a lot of things I want to do with the rest of this turn, but not enough points to do them all. So one thing I want to focus on is trying to get some of these ships to ports that they could operate out of. And I guess operate in this case just means get upgrades, because the carriers are the only ones that were injured. They're the only ones that really needed these ports over here. Just having everything be as close as possible to the relevant, you know, fleet would theoretically be a good idea, because we're not doing any more naval upgrades today. So the Congo battleship can get all the way over somewhere around here. Fuso as well. Alright, Fuso, you're going up there. We're going to use these awesome ports in Korea. Also, in Manchukuo has some as well. We're going to move the battleships over there. You guys are going to operate out of there. There's even some in China. Interesting. We'll send you guys back here. Not that you need these ports, but I am going to go through an upgrading phase because my naval presence is not the most important thing right now. Light cruiser can get over here. The heavy cruisers, 2 of them can come here. And this one can go, I guess, right here. This one's probably not going to go anywhere too quickly. Unless there's anything else in reach, which I don't think there is. Oh, no, is this. Man, this fucking ocean is big. Alright, we'll bring the Mogami up here to the north. And they'll get ready for some upgrades, which there will be many of. But with our 177 MPPs remaining, which is like half or more of what we make every turn now, I'm going to spend that on some more research because we have another 600 MPPs worth of research we can do. So I'm going to get some more ground attack weapons. I think that's pretty important. There's only one more level and then it's maxed out. And so that would really help, certainly, while dealing with the Chinese. While dealing with anything on the ground, of course. And there's always going to be more ground fighting, surprisingly. Even as Japan. Until you wipe out India, but even then you could bring the ground fight somewhere else. We do have a garrison to deploy as Japan, and so we're gonna put that on Nagasaki, get that ready. I believe that was the last one we needed based on our math to actually cover all of this stuff. I don't remember, because that's the only. Is there more being made? There is not. There are no more being made, but I believe some here might be in transit. No, these are all pretty much dedicated to these locations. And what's remaining to put a garrison on is, there's actually just 2 spots. So, potentially, there could, okay, this one doesn't need to be here. That's a thing. And, yes, the one on Yunnan proper isn't going to stay on Yunnan. It was sent here to do this, because that covers that. So 1, 2, and that covers the rest of the spots. And we do have enough garrisons. Let's go ahead and move this garrison here forward, maybe. It doesn't have to move too quick, so I'm just going to move it normal speed. We don't need to rush with it or anything. Well, we can't afford to set them to sea right now. We're going to move this special force off to the side, and so we can land this corps that's been on its way, the 5th Corps. Right on Hilo, have it take its position so it is defended when these 2 decide to go somewhere else. Having the money to adequately deploy these guys while you're prioritizing China is really a tough thing, but I don't know, this is just my strategy this time. I think that's basically everything with Japan. Anything else was done basically the moment we hit the end turn button and came to this turn, and nothing else can really be afforded with the other actions that we have taken. So, we do still have some German MPPs to spend, some being 593 to be exact. With this first anti-tank, I never actually deployed it. I'm going to operate it to right here, roughly. I can put it right here in the swamp, right next to the tank. That's funny. No, just right here will do, somewhere in this area. Because my idea right now actually is that I want to take the Frontier Corps and I want to move it up. So, I'd like to move that up to the front. So we have another corps partaking in running around, surrounding, you know, doing what we need on the front. So let me just operate that first, I suppose. Put that over on the right here. Regain a new corps on the front. Take the anti-tank, because in my opinion, these are really more of a defensive fixture or more useful in an environment where you don't move around a lot. So we're going to put that on this city. This is the new defender of this city, is this anti-tank. It'll have to entrench, but if it ends up needing any health, we could find something else to send it there. Any help, I should say. For once, as Germany, I have a very capable choice. It's very rare, where I just have so many MPPs remaining. Research is just completely filled up at this point. There's no more room for it. All of our fronts we have active are honestly pretty well taken care of. This is where you'd spend money thinking of the future, but there's not an insane amount of future left before we hit our war goal, so I was thinking of what I could do with these 563 MPPs that would work, that would help given the production delay on everything. And something I thought would be useful pretty much no matter how anything goes is some more bombers. Some tactical bombers would be incredibly useful no matter how anything went. It would take 7 months to make them, but throwing more land units at the problem at this point isn't really going to help. So, if it really does drag on another 7 months, then some more bombers would be incredibly useful. Wow, these things go from looking like, well, Stukas to looking more like a strategic bomber, quite frankly. But I think that, yeah, that's accurate. I just forget the name of this. The HE something? I forget the models. I haven't looked at World War II planes for so long. But let's go ahead and purchase fully upgraded the final tactical bomber that we can even have. And there you go. That leaves us with 203 remaining MPPs. There's not a whole lot we can do with 203. There's no point really looking at diplomacy at this point. So what we'll do is anyone that has any kind of relevant position over here where they could be bombed, like these garrisons, I'll just give them the works, you know, infantry weapons, anti-aircraft. It's a little bit excessive, but if they're going to be potentially dealing with getting bombed, let's just be a little generous. Why not? Is this a worthwhile way to spend points? Probably not. Am I doing it anyway? Yes. Yes, I am. And that's all you need to know. So, don't worry, I'll be way more strategic in a PvP, I swear. Which, by the way, I don't know if I've mentioned this already, because I'm recording this like 24 hours after recording the first half of this episode. I'm getting ready to record a PvP, the first PvP with Travis. I will be playing the Axis, so you'll be able to look forward to that, even though it will be going kind of slowly, given the nature of the game. Speaking of the slow nature of the game, it's now probably been like 2 months in game, roughly, since we took Egypt, maybe more, I don't really know. And we're still not ready to move a lot of these things, so a lot of these things have other things we can do to them. For example, reinforcing the area tanks. Okay, cool. Then we can upgrade the 10th Army, infantry weapons level 2. Then we can upgrade the 1st Army, infantry weapons level 2. Now we're down to 19 MPPs. 2 of our armies cannot move. Some of them can get things like elite reinforcements, but we don't have any more money for that. Jerusalem's still there. There's a lot of shit going on. What's this? Long-range aircraft? That seems valuable. And now we have no more MPPs. We already spent some MPPs, I believe, as Italy on... yeah, up here on subs, on a sub that needed to be fixed up. And Italy, of course, doesn't get a whole lot of MPPs. So they're not going anywhere fast right now, Italy. They're just kind of digging in. They're dealing with what they already have, at least up here. Down here's a different story. And so there's not a lot we can do here that's very variable, considering we've already used basically all of our MPPs. But we can go after our opponents here, so let's go ahead and do that. They have very little supply, so let's just do a direct attack on the paratroopers, I'd say. We have vastly better experience. We dealt 3 damage overall. We did take 1 damage to one of our units, unfortunately. And supplies, of course, not too grand. I'm tempted to move the HQ up here, thinking that maybe that would buff supply here more. It's hard to say. Honestly, I don't really think that it would, because it's already boosting up to 6 here, then 5 to 4. If we go here, I think it would just boost up to 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So it would probably end up being pretty similar. If anything, just the supply of the HQ itself would become better, if that's worth anything, which it really kind of isn't. I'll just move this garrison back somewhere it could be safe. I'm almost tempted to move this here, but I think that would actually just hurt supply. Let's move this here. Let's look. Yeah, it's basically going to be exactly what I expected. It's just the same, whether we're on a point like this or not. So we're just going to be exchanging some fire here for the time being. There's no really pushing out from Ethiopia. The Indians showing up with a full army and paratroopers versus my 2 already injured corps is, of course, not really the best thing in the world, but it's not like they're going to be taking a bunch of stuff. They're pretty much held in place. I'm just amazed we held Ethiopia this whole time. There is still the messy HQ, which we can go ahead and move. I guess it's just going down here for now. I don't know where I'm going to stop it. Maybe like around Rome or so, or maybe just somewhere near here where I would expect allies to show up by Sicily. Because while I don't think we'll see D-Day from the allies, we may still see an Operation Torch, and while most of that's going to happen over here, it's, I guess, apt to prepare up here while we can. I mean, transporting across might be better, but that's so many MPPs. It doesn't cost any MPPs to just move into place. It does cost MPPs to transport across here. And we do know Torch is incoming because of this Special Forces. But I believe that's everything that we're going to be doing for this turn. So, With that said, let's hit end turn and see what the allies have to do. Chinese morale suffers from the loss of Kunming. That's right, we finally took that, and with it, I believe the hump is now shut down. And it just got started too. German U-boats deploy at Constanza. This was from an event, yeah, so I get another sub. Cool. Axis raiders disrupting, yeah, keeping them out of supply. No supply from New Zealand, no supply from Australia, no money, no MPPs. God, Germany makes so much money. Japan's making more than it's ever made before, which is great, but you could feel it. I could feel it. When I'm playing and I'm trying to do stuff as Germany, I actually wind up with more MPPs than I need. Meanwhile, as Japan, I just still feel like I never have enough. The All India Congress Committee calls on the British to quit India. Gandhi and other leaders of the Quit India campaign are arrested. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything in the context of this game, so. This sub that was surrounded by like 20 fucking destroyers, injured destroyers, has dove, and the destroyer's still going after it. They're taking damage, dealing no damage so far, and that's still going. Oh, this one is ASW. Ah, it hurts, but you still took damage. Oh my god, you're not winning. You're just giving me XP and taking 3 to or more times the damage at the end of the day, we'll see, that you're dishing out. And you're never getting a chance to reinforce. You'd probably go broke in a turn if you tried to reinforce all this. They've taken 4 damage, dealt 1 at this point. We're diving again. Dude, this is our whole destroyer fleet. We finally took another damage from the dive. This is our whole destroyer fleet. Ganging up on 1 sub, can it barely deal 2 damage? Took 4 damage in the process. That is not feasible. Where the hell did that unit go? Just leaving Mandalay undefended? What are you doing? Going up towards Kunming? Are you afraid about that? Nervous, paranoid about player actions? I think you are. Otherwise, just some reinforcements, some moving, nothing else really standing out. It's been a really good campaign so far. I'm very content with how things have gone. Of course, they're still trying to bomb our ships. They're still bombing our ships. I hate using these ports for this reason. These northern ones. Because they have the range to see if anything's in them, and they take advantage of it. This is where having fighters in place would be good, but, you know, I didn't do that this time. Oh, you put an HQ there. The AI, when they do move something like that, they always move something else in. What are you doing? Oh my god. Oh, we dived. We're way the fuck away now. Holy shit. What are you fucking idiots doing with your destroyer? You're lucky Germany can't have more maritime bombers, or I'd be fucking your shit up at this point. Don't you fucking worry about it. Oh, there's a lot of Chinese people showing up around Lanchao. Incredible. That there's still so many, because they keep respawning. That's one thing I love just playing about China, is you just keep respawning. All your infantry just forever respawns. I love it. I hate fighting it, but I love it. It's funny, even with that, it's less cheaty of a system than a lot of other games have. I remember I played some World War I game at one point. I think it was World War I, yeah. Where the enemy got free rail transport and a bunch of free units, depending on how well you were doing. It was awful. I don't care about seeing... did that join the Allies? Why am I seeing this? Yeah, okay, yeah, Dominican Republic and the Allies. So that probably happened a while ago. Okay, so my question has been answered. When I do take like an island, the supply will just spread and take the rest of it over. However, that doesn't seem to apply to all these islands here. Not that they're very important, but we're definitely going to reinforce both of these special forces up to max. Because they're going to be going out to sea very shortly, because they're doing my island hopping campaign, let's call it. It's a little backwards terminology, but there it is. Looking at all the Chinese that have built up around Lanchao, hey, the Lanchao Corps, how aptly named. I've noticed that I don't see anything here projecting a zone of control, meaning it could take, for example, this unit 2 action points to move there, or this one 3. So regardless, I feel like if I can kill this unit, I can take Lanchao right now, deal another massive blow to Chinese morale, which is already down to 47%, and then continue on to Uramuchi, having really annihilated the morale of everybody around here. Of course, this is the most entrenched unit around here, so it's going to take some softening up if we actually want to kill it this turn. This would be way easier to kill this turn. But I believe we could get there without exterminating everything around, regardless. So let's try that. Let's take the medium bombers. Let's do a medium bombing on Lanchao. We dealt 2 damage, lowered their entrenchment, readiness, and morale. Okay, let's do a tactical bombing. Oh yeah, we'll be able to pull this off all right. Only 2 damage. We overperformed the medium bombers, underperformed with the tactical bombers. Now let's try to wipe them out with the 11th Regional Army. And there you go. Corps on Lanchao wiped out. We've taken 1 damage. Okay, so there is a zone of control. But who's projecting the zone of control as I understand it? Do corps project a zone of control? Yeah, I guess they do. It's just, it's a weak zone of control. It's not as strong of a zone of control. Well, okay. I was gonna upgrade this bomber, but we might still be able to kind of pull off some movement, maybe. If we could wipe out one of these corps, I'm not really sure. We'll still have some movement available. We could potentially deal enough damage. I'll go ahead and do a tactical bombing against the corps that's just moved in here. Dealing 4 damage, overperforming, taking no damage. It's pretty awesome. Supply. This is going to need to move closer, because supply... Range is not really working out for it. It could also go south, like I was bringing up. Not sure where I really care to have it. Bombing capacity pretty much everywhere would be good, but again, this front right here is very temporary. It can afford to be inefficient more so than, you know, wiping out China currently. So let's just keep everything up here for right now, I'd say. Whoa, let's go ahead and move you, let's say just off the road. I think that works. You'll still have the same amount of supply that you need. Let's try go ahead here, wipe out this enemy corps. What? We only dealt 5 damage, not quite wiping that out. That's very sad. And unfortunately, there's still too large of a zone of control to move into Lanchao. I was pretty certain there wouldn't be a zone of control at all, but I don't really understand how the zones of control of corps work. Even after all this gameplay, I just know the full zone of control of an army is really the biggest deal. Well, regardless, someone's going to have to move on to Lanchao to actually properly defend it. And whoever does that is not going to be entrenched at this point. I'll move the 6th Army north, kind of surround this town, because at this point, you know, it's just another place to hit out from. Let's do a prepared attack with the 17th Army. Dealing 3 damage, taking none. We'll do a blitz attack after that. Dealing only 2 damage, but taking none, so it still works out. Still a profitable venture for us. There's not a lot of room for anything else to move up. This could move up, but it could also get 2 elite reinforcements to pack a much larger punch, which at this point matters quite a bit. But we also want to make sure not to overspend. I'm spending a lot on things like elite reinforcements to make sure that we just crush the Chinese with like no losses and no difficulty, and that limits my ability to research. It limits my ability to operate in the Pacific, but of course with this playthrough it might not really matter. We'll do elite reinforcements on the 3rd Army. The 1st Kwantung Army will move up the road as far as it can get, and we have a lot of other things that could just barely move at all. We'll give elite reinforcements to the 37th Army. We have such a huge pile up here. I'm tempted to just take one more army and kind of go up and around here. So we'd still have 1, 2, 3, 4, like maybe 5 over here, and then we just have 3 up there. That might be better, because I don't think this is going to open up too quickly. When it opens up, you know, it'll open up. We'll have multiple roads to go down, both within good range of Lanchao, potentially for supply, multiple HQs to push down each path as they all lead to Uramuchi anyway. And then it'll kind of narrow again. I don't know. For now, I'll leave them be while we figure out how we're going to spend our Japanese points remaining. I believe we have a nice full episode for now. It's August 28th, 1942. Can't wait to see what we can accomplish over here in the USSR. For now, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.